in a second international sovereign bond, or Eurobond, proposed by the Republic of Kenya. Now, in a cautionary statement issued yesterday, Mr. Odinga said the government had proposed to issue the bond to be listed on the Irish Stock Exchange by last Friday. Now, however much you may dismiss Raila Odinga, in terms of making headlines, you know, he always does. He always has something new. Last 2 weeks it was about the Northern Collector Tunnel, which is still eliciting debate. It's now the reactions coming out every other day. Now we see he said something else. Raila warns against a second Eurobond. Should we take him seriously? Should we ignore him?
You should always take Raila Odinga seriously, because it's fact. Yeah, these things don't just come up because of politics. It doesn't come up because we're on different sides of the political divide. These are things that are well researched, and it's fact. And Raila Odinga, as well as Kalonzo and Wetangula, being in the opposition, really their duty is to check the government. And you'll agree with me, there's never been an opposition that is so passionate, that loves this country so much, that every little thing that's going to affect us negatively, they're able to check it. Now, if you look at the first Eurobond, first of all, there's still 100 billion shillings that we still don't know where it went. It went into an account at JP Morgan. It never came out, right? It didn't come here as it's supposed to do by law, because the law says when you borrow funds, the first thing you do is you have to bring it home, then it has to get into the consolidated fund, then it can go into various issues. This last one, Eurobond, it broke the law. It didn't come into the consolidated fund, most of it. Only, I think, 400 and something billion came in. Another 400 and something billion paid debt while it was still out there without having to come into the country again, breaking the law, blatantly breaking the law. Now, what does that do to us as a country? The debt rises so high that we're not going to be able to pay it off in another 5 years. Eurobond 1 is due in 2019. You pay it back in dollars, right? The dollar increased significantly the other day. You saw that from 80 something, we are now at over 100, a record. Then number two, our single largest foreign exchange earner, single largest, is Kenya Airways. Kenya Airways is going down. So where are you going to get money to pay in another 4 or 5 years? And that's what Raila is talking about. First of all, why are you borrowing? Is there a need to borrow? Number two, the other Eurobond was supposed to go into investment, into development projects, infrastructure projects, specifically, because again the law says you have to borrow for specific reasons, right? When the ministries were asked, when Raila Odinga and again Kalonzo and Wetangula asked, where did that money go to? Show us the projects that the money went to, because all the projects that Jubilee is launching are projects from the Grand Coalition government. There's no projects they've initiated right now in this term. So Raila said, show us the projects. They went to the ministries, and the ministries said, we have not seen any money for projects. We haven't seen any money for projects. Almost 6 or 7 ministries. So the money is not going to its intended use. It's being used illegally. Some of it doesn't even come, so we as Kenyans don't know where it goes to. So we are wondering, how are we going to pay back this money? So every day a child is born, you're born with tens of thousands of debt, with money that is not known really where it's going. And we spoke about the athletes, Fred. Jubilee government said 5 new stadiums. We've not even done one. So the only thing that makes us proud as Kenyans, we can't even nurture it. I mean, if you told me you can borrow a Eurobond to go and build 5 stadiums, we know our young people are taken care of, because the youth is the future of this country. All of us in government are striving to do things for the young people. But promises to the young people are not being met, and money is disappearing. We should not go back and borrow more money.
Incidentally, a different headline on the Standard reads, Treasury borrows 226 billion shillings in 6 months flat. This is away from the Eurobond claim that in a period of 6 months this year, the Jubilee government acquired a foreign debt of 226 billion shillings. With that, Kenya's total foreign debt has reached over 3 trillion shillings, which is the highest in the region.
This is really, really unfortunate, and I think our members of parliament need to come out strongly to interrogate these transactions. If our debt is at 3 trillion and we are still continuing to borrow, then I think for us as a country, this should call for a serious national discussion, regardless of where you are. But let me first of all come back to the issue of Eurobond. If you read the Auditor General's report, there are a number of unprocedural things. Now, if you look at Article 206 of the Constitution, it is very clear that money is raised through processes like the Eurobond. Then that money has to be deposited in the consolidated fund. Now, that has not happened. The government has not come out strongly to tell us why that did not happen. Again, if you read Article 206 of the Constitution, it's very clear that even payment of certain monies have to be authorized by the Controller of Budget. Now that again, you hear there were some monies that we raised 2 billion. There was some syndicate loan that we ended up paying without the authority and involving the Controller of Budget. So again, where do we get that authority from? We created certain institutions within the Constitution so that we can have checks and balances. Now, when the government goes ahead and pays some loan that they had taken without involving the office of the Controller of Budget, then it raises certain fundamental questions. When the government raises money and it subsequently does not put all the money in the consolidated fund, clearly is a clear issue of concern to us, because the question is, why are we circumventing serious institutions that are provided for? You know, that is a blatant defiling of the Constitution. So those are very key fundamental issues. And if you look at the Auditor General's report, he's very clear that there are a number of procedural issues that were done with this Eurobond. Now, I don't know why people are quiet. I don't know why elected members are quiet, because this is a serious concern. Now, if currently our debt is at 3 trillion and we have a budget of 2 trillion in a year, then that is a serious concern to us as a country. And the way we are headed, I think in the next 2 years we will have a budget of around 4 trillion
just to pay debt. When a senator, you being a Jubilee senator, of course your role in this panel will probably be to defend the government position, and being an election year, and probably we as Kenyans do not talk much about the debt and government borrowing, but clearly, even the World Bank has warned that Kenya's debt is at crisis level. It's the highest in the region. Surely, this should not be the case at this point.
Yeah, let me say that, you know, when the Grand Coalition was in power, one thing they failed to do is to plan for this kind of 2 levels of government. Remember, we never used to have 47 governments, which one of them is being headed by the deputy governor here and in Nairobi. Remember, these are governments which are not like the municipals which you used to have. And then we have now the national government. And remember, according to the projects which have really been launched, or rather spearheaded by the Jubilee government, it really requires a lot of money. That's one. And without money, there's no way you can really move on. We just came up with a constitution whereby the 2 levels of government was really created without taking into consideration how the status of our economy. And in order for that heavy demand from the 47 counties and also the national government and those projects which Kenyans are really waiting for, then you have no option apart from what I do not advocate for personally is where there is a routing of funds. And I think the institutions which are which are paid by Kenyans, actually, by the taxpayers' money, they are the ones who are supposed to have told Kenyans what is really happening with the previous Eurobond. But that does not stop. You cannot say just because you are found in a certain mess that you don't need to continue. The life must continue, Kenyans. And remember, we cannot stop things at that just because the investigation is underway. But I hope we are really looking forward to get these answers. Every Kenyan, despite whichever wing you are with, because or rather you are in, let me put it that way, that we have to get answers from the institutions which are concerned.
Now the question is, because anytime Raila Odinga stands up to speak and he says something against the government, the first reaction from Jubilee legislators is to dismiss him as lying or not being factual in his comments. Are you going to say that about this statement, this latest statement by Odinga?
You see, I think the statement, the current statement, I think, is only appealing to the institutions which really do lend these funds, not to lend funds to Kenya. There's nothing much. There's no much in that statement, because that's the money which has not even been borrowed yet. So you know, we might leave it that. Someone might think that we already have the second figure which has already been misappropriated. He's only cautioning the institutions which are supposed to lend this money not to. But again, he's only anticipating rather that the money might be misused, but at the same time he's only trying to, I would say that is blackmailing, because you cannot just use the first offense which was committed, rather just to stop the lender, I mean, from lending the money.
Yes. At least the senator agrees there was an offense committed there, and he blames the county governments of being the devolved governments of being actually the greatest burden forcing Kenya into debt. And in a short while we'll be taking a break, but when we return, something related to that, the burden of devolution. And Moses Wetangula, the Ford Kenya party leader, says he proposes that counties be reduced to 16 from the current 47, and that there should be a mandatory law review every 5 years, because probably we passed a constitution that is forcing us, as the senator suggested, to spend a lot more. That and a lot more stories, because we still have to discuss what the Nairobi Senator Mike Sonko said on Friday. That and a lot more when we return.